Hey guys, hey! So today I'm coming to you with a tag. I have been tagged multiple times. I typically never do tag videos. I just don't find them that interesting. What's your favorite color? When did you get married? What's your favorite sex position? And I'm like, la, don't care. This one caught my eye. And as I've been watching other people, I'm like, all right, fine. So it is the Confessions of a Fat Girl. Some people call it Confessions from a Fat Girl's Diaries. Some people call it Confessions of a Fatty. Some people call it Confessions of a Fat Angry Woman. You can just roll all that up into just me. So considering the fact that I am not under my goal weight, I guess I'm still considered a fat girl or fat woman. So it's just Confessions of me. So I made a small list of things that I would talk about, and I know I have briefly talked about some of this stuff on different videos, but as I have almost 500 videos, I'm sure, yeah. So I can remember being very poor, and I want to put this out I want this not to be, parents, this is all my parents' fault. This is all, you are a product of your environment. Okay. So I believe that 150%. So when I'm saying all of this stuff, it is not that I am pointing fingers at who raised me or how I was raised or whatnot. So let's just throw that out there first. I am not blaming my mom or my dad or, any of that good stuff. I remember being incredibly poor. I remember sharing a house at one point in time with 7 different people. My parents were very sweet, so they would let my brother Sean's buddy Chris stay with us because he didn't have a place to live. And there was me and then Lonnie and his, at that point in time, I don't know if it was girlfriend or wife, Rindy, and then my mom and dad and I. So at one point in time, for as long as I could remember, money was ridiculously short. Food in the house was very scarce, very often. Now, we had a garden in the back, and we would can some of our own food and stuff like that, but I was never interested in canned food. I was like, after you eat so many canned green beans, you're kind of like, no. So I remember, you get one piece of meat. And being the youngest, I would always get the scrap, or you would always get one, potato, or one piece of corn. And being the youngest, I kind of got whatever was, the runoff, because everybody else was older than me and got to pick their food first. And, I completely understand that. That is just the way things are. But I learned early that if I didn't get in there first, if I didn't get what I wanted first, I wouldn't get the biggest piece of chicken. I wouldn't get the biggest piece of pot roast. I wouldn't get the, enough potato. I was very food aggressive, very fast. I was brought up in a way where food was a reward. If you go to the bathroom, here's a cookie. If you go, if you make pee-pees on the potty, here's a here's a cupcake, not cupcake, but like cookie. Here's a cracker. I actually have pictures of myself, for using using the potty. I have a cracker in my hand. So very early on, food became a reward system for me, and that is how I grew up. I definitely grew up learning that food was something that was a treat, and I should be interested in it, and it will be amazing, and so I was very food aggressive very early on. I remember. So the next thing, I remember sneaking food. I can remember sneaking food for as far back as I can think. I remember my mom buying Weight Watchers ice creams, and sorry Mom, I know you're gonna watch this, but I'm sure I did it. I remember my mom buying Weight Watchers ice creams, and because I lived in the house with so many other people, I wasn't always going to get the first blame. So I would sneak it. I would wait until everybody had gone to bed, and I would come downstairs and I would grab, an ice cream, and I would quickly go back to my bedroom or, whatever I was doing, or the bathroom, and then I would unwrap it while I was flushing the toilet. I was very smart. I learned to manipulate the situation very early on to get what I wanted. My dad, okay, so wait, I'll go back. So, I would sneak it into my bedroom and I would unwrap it and I would eat it, and then I would go and either throw it in the trash can, or we had a hole in between my bedroom and my brother's room where I think where the door had been pushed into the wall, and for a while it was open. So I can remember eating wrappers and stuff and throwing it in that hole because I knew no one would ever find it. Now, I also remember my mother coming to me, or my father or my brother, whoever's food it was, that didn't matter to me. I didn't care whose food it was. That wasn't important to me in the least, because all I knew was that, I was hurting, or I was sad, or I was depressed, or, whatever. And I'm telling you, I was itty bitty. Like, this was right off the food addiction, right out of the gate. So, that I learned to associate my feelings and how happy I was with food. My father and I had a very interesting relationship. Now, I'm going to try very hard not to get super ooey gooey and boo-hooey in this thing. As most of you know, my father has passed on many, many a year. And I still have a hard time talking about him and I don't have a whole lot of memories. I think that's just something that I have pushed down, really down deep, that's something I'm working on in therapy. But I remember my dad needing cigarettes or goodie powders or a soda, and we would always go to the store. And the deal was that if I went into the store, I got candy or a cookie or a pie. If I would go into the store, now that shows my age because I could get cigarettes from my dad, and got Winston 100s, I was able to pick out whatever kind of candy I wanted. So that was the deal. Anytime my dad went to the store, he either brought me something back, or I got to go and I went in and got something for him, or little treats and stuff like that. Because like I'm telling you guys, we were very, very poor. My father was very sick. My mother was always working. We had a large family. My dad was on disability. It was not a good time. There's lots of medical bills and, that kind of stuff. We lived in a very poor area of North Carolina. That's where my accent comes from, North Kakalaki, born and raised. That's that Southern girl, y'all. Paula Dana got nothing on me. So anyway, another thing I can remember is I would hide food. Now, I would eat food and hide it. That's different. But I would hide food. Like, I would find something. My father was a sugar addict, too, but he weighed like 10 pounds, so it didn't really affect his gigantic metabolism where I have 0. He had like 50, 100. That's not a number, but that's not the point. He had a very fast metabolism where I did not. And like, he would buy cookies, or he'd buy a pack of, oatmeal pies. He'd buy packs of Nutty Buddy bars and stuff like that. And I remember specifically finding them, and they would my father and my mother would hide the food. And while they weren't looking, while they were busy, while they were gone, while no one was watching me, I was searching all the little spots for the food. Because I don't understand my thought process in all of that, but I was literally looking all over the house to look for something to eat. And I know I do that kind of stuff today. So that is something that has not changed for me. Not that anybody hides food from me, but I will go searching to munch for something. I'm constantly going into my kitchen to look for something to munch on, and that is just, it's something in my brain that's like, I gotta have something. I gotta munch on something. So I would go search for all the spots that I knew that they would hide food, and if I found it, that shit was mine. I would manipulate my friends at school. I would have either, I rarely had money for lunch, like lunch money, because like I said, we just didn't have that. But a lot of the times I would have school lunch. Well, once you got into middle school, they started having the cool lunches where, you got pizza or French fries or whatever. I would manipulate my friends into buying me or sharing their good food with the shit that I had been served that I didn't want to eat. Or I would eat that one and then go back. Like, let's say that my dad gave me $5 that day and that was supposed to last me the week. I would eat my regular lunch, and then on top of that, I would get French fries, or on top of that, I would get a pizza, or on top of that, I'd get a chicken sandwich with ranch, like on top of that. And sometimes I put it in my book bag, and like throughout the day, I would just nom. My favorite thing has always been candy. My favorite thing has always been sugar, candy, those types of things. I can remember my first job was at Wendy's. Now, God, just thinking about this. So I've worked in 2 restaurants. I've worked at Wendy's and I've worked at Taco Bell. Now, where I was working, if food fell on the counter, not the floor, but on the counter, like, you dig out the French fries and a few of them would fall onto the counter, those were free game. And since I worked at the drive-thru, because that's my favorite place to work, I was in charge of putting the stuff in the bags. So I would always accidentally drop a few fries out the bag. Oh, well, or, and you got as much soda or as much tea as you wanted, but you had to hide your cup underneath the thing. I can't tell you how many French fries, how many chicken nuggets, how many, things of soda or tea or, and when I was working at Taco Bell, the same thing with like the nacho chips, or if that one wasn't as much as the Wendy's was just the fries and the stuff like that. But for serious, like as much food as I could just shovel in my mouth. And then you got a 70% discount. So like an entire gigantic meal at Wendy's, I would get, they had a potato bar back then, telling you how old I am, had a potato bar. So I'd get a potato and then I'd fill that crap up with all my stuff, cheese and sour cream and, all that good stuff. And then I would do 5 of their breadsticks, which were delicious. And, I would eat all of those and a chicken sandwich. And that would be like $3. So on top of eating all of that, if there was any food left at the end of the shift, like, because I had to work night shift because I had to school, if there was any food left at the end of shift, most people didn't want it. So I always took it home and I would always eat it. And I would eat it before, like, I would literally be eating it from the time I left work until the time I got home. And like, knowing that other people in my house may have wanted some didn't matter to me. Like, I would only take the stuff that I wanted, and like I would eat it on my way home, or I'd eat it with my mom or whoever picked me up. Fresh hot French fries or whatever. Like, I remember that specifically. At Taco Bell, the same thing. You got a free lunch, and I would get the big, because you could make your own burritos and stuff like that. I would make a gigantic, the thing was like Mission style burrito back then, when there was no Mission style burrito back in North Carolina. Just massive, and like, a cup of beans, and I would just eat a ridiculous amount of food. So I remember walking down the street with my friend Shane, and we were, I think we were walking across a parking lot, and these I have a few instances of this as I got older, and I think I was like maybe 13 or 14, and this redneck truck came up in front of us, and as they were passing us, they threw two big things of rotten chocolate milk on us and called me a fat ass. I remember that one. That one was awesome. And then another time when I was like 20, 22, I was outside of a coffee shop with my friend Tim, but I was working at the time, and this car came out of nowhere with a bunch of teenagers in it, and they sprayed me with silly string and called me all kinds of horrible, dirty, nasty names and told me that I should kill myself and die and that I was gross and disgusting, and then they threw the cans at me. So that was also really, really fun. And then they came back around, and my friend Tim actually grabbed his drink and like threw it inside the car as they went by. So I have been used to ridicule my entire life. Serious ridicule, like in middle school and high school, people picking on me. It wasn't just picking on me. They put gum in my hair. They would spit on me. They would try to beat me up. They would tear up my clothes. They would tear up my book bags. They would throw away my books. They would, and no one put a stop to it. Like, no matter how much I told my parents or told the school or told my bus driver or told anybody else, nobody cared. Like, it was just something, get over it. It was to the point that I got thrown off the bus. Like, but they made it like I was the problem. So I was actually tossed off the bus, and my dad had to drive me to and from school the last few years I was in high school. So that was, I think it was from middle school to high school. I rarely ever rode the bus. Not that I wanted to anyway, because it was absolutely miserable. It was horrible, the way I was picked on. Like I said, I was 350 pounds by the time I left high school. So I had always been really big, and I played baritone, which is a euphonium, which is a gigantic instrument. So not only was I big, but now I have this gigantic instrument I have to, I have to lug around. Another thing is that I would break chairs and couches, and I can't tell you, a futon, There have been many a furniture that has had its demise unfortunately at my hand. Not that I ever meant to do it or wanted to do it. I remember my friend Raymond actually his parents told him to stop having me ride in his car because I was ruining his shocks. Yeah, and I wasn't even 18 at that point in time. So you can probably tell how much that helped me, that his parents told him not to allow me to ride in his car because I was going to ruin his shocks. That my husband's cousin had me and him sleep on her futon, and I cracked every single solitary strut in the wood, and broke it into a bajillion pieces, and it was an antique, and I had warned them before I even laid down on it not to let me do it because I was like 500 pounds, plus Matthew, who was like 200 pounds, but they had assured me that, oh no, I'd be perfectly fine, don't worry about it. Well, it wasn't perfectly fine, because 2 hours after laying on that, I heard a crack, and as I was trying to roll out of bed, it broke the rest of them. So that was humiliating. Today, I still have food issues with mine and Matthew's food. I still want to take the biggest piece. I still want to have the most of. I just can't fit it. I am working diligently on trying to fix that. I don't like it. It makes me really upset. It makes me feel bad. I don't, especially because I want to have kids, and I can't imagine being this aggressive and not wanting to share with my children. Like, I still give Matthew the biggest piece of everything, and even if I was to take the biggest piece, I wouldn't be able to eat it. He would end up eating the rest of it anyway, but it's the mentality I don't like having. It's the fact that I hate feeling like, that I can't be trusted. So like, let's say that I go to the store and I buy 3 cupcakes. You know, you would think 2 of those would be Matthew's. No, I don't want to share them. They're mine. Those are my cupcakes. Like, I'll buy you your own cupcakes, but these 3 are mine. Like, don't eat them. Don't even look at them. They're my damn cupcakes. Stay away from. And he knows that those are mine, and I don't like that about myself. I don't want to be overly aggressive. I don't want to be like, this is mine and you can't have any. Like, that's shameful for me, and it makes me feel super awkward, you know, and very bad about myself, especially because if we go out to eat with people, and case in point, we went out to eat the other day with a couple, with 2 couples, and I had ordered an appetizer, and you got 4 teeny tiny pieces, and literally they were like, yeah, this big, of pork belly, and because I'd never had it before. And Matthew got prime rib, so of course I can't really eat beef that well, so I had like this, literally it was this piece of prime rib and these little pieces of pork belly. Well, one of the ladies really wanted to try it, my thing. So, you know, graciously, you know, without showing how I felt about it, I handed, you know, the plate over for her to grab one. In my head, I was like, I wanted to blow her up. I wanted to stab her in her face because she was taking my food. Who does that? That's not okay. Like, who does that? But I literally was mad. I was angry that I had to share my food when she had her own food. And, you know, not being able to share is just, it's ridiculous. So, I mean, there's a million other things I could talk about, but it's already 21 minutes in. Maybe I'll make a part 2 one day. I don't know. But I hope you guys are having a great week. I have no idea who to tag. So, I don't know who's not been tagged. I think, I'm not really sure. But I love your beautiful, gorgeous, amazing faces. I hope everybody, again, I think I already said that twice now. Take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you soon. Mwah! Bye.